which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks everyone for making it. Thank you. All right, so this public meeting is being recorded in accordance with the Montana law. All those in attendance are advised that the public portions of this meeting will be recorded in audio video format. By remaining in the meeting, those present consent to being recorded and displayed in footage that will be posted on the school district's website. Please contact the district office if you have any questions concerning Hamilton School District's recording obligations under Montana open meeting law. All right, I don't see any reason to revise or change anything on the agenda. Is there any public comments that are on matters that are not on the agenda? All right, so for reports, we're gonna just let you go.
Yeah, I will go. So tonight is the night for the annual report, and so you have a hard copy at your table. Obviously, tonight's not the only night that you can ask questions, so as you go through this and digest this and look at this, I'm sure that there will be questions. So this report really is an example of what I have discovered in the 6-7 months that I've been here, and the result of some planning that we've done at the board level and at the administrative level as we look forward. So it's a little bit of where we are now and a little bit of projection, especially when we get into the budget towards the end. So please stop me if you have questions. There are some, obviously some areas if you want to ask questions, be happy to answer those for you. But what I have discovered is positive. What I have discovered in getting to know people and visiting and the schools and observing is we have dedicated people that want to do a good job. And I think that is really critical for us. So when I walk around and talk with folks or watch in a classroom, what I see in those classrooms is I see teachers and students engaged with one another. Honestly, I see happy kids. I see kids that like being at school, and I see teams of our staff working together. And I think those things are really important. And one of the things that I really want to do as the superintendent coming in is really focus on creating strong teams in the district. So I think more collaboration is the key to better decision making. It just offers a rich perspective on things and offers the opportunity to see things in multiple ways. And then I think when you go through that, when you know better, you do better. And so that's really the path that I'm on, and really want to continue to engage with people in the district and in the community, and continue to develop relationships and develop those strong teams and develop a sense of community in our district. So what do we work on? We spent a significant amount of time, maybe to the point where it was getting a little old, but we kept talking about policy 1015. And we spent quite a lot of time developing this, and it seems rather simple, but it came from a broad perspective to a narrow perspective. There are so many things in a school district that are going on that are important, that are really important. But if you don't decide what is the priority, it can really result in fragmented systems and fragmented resources. So this is really about what do we want to prioritize in terms of our system for educational goals, and how do we want to operate within the district, and what principles or values do we want to operate with. So notice the connection between fishing and trying to, what are we fishing for? What are we after? So I will kind of take you through the red highlighted areas are areas in the policy that we've identified as values or principles that we want to cultivate and nurture. There's no secret, but a great employee is made for a great school district. So attracting and retaining people, and I've been saying this since I interviewed, culture is the key, I think, to attracting and retaining staff. And we do have a strong culture that attracts good people and it keeps them here. The craft is that we really have to focus our attention on how do we make people better? How do we bring out the best in everybody? And how do we bring out the best in everybody in terms of the priorities that we've set? So this is a key value for us. Engaging the community. None of us have ever done anything alone. When you really, really think about the successes that people have had, there's always somebody either behind the scenes or with somebody else. And I think that we know that the value in this district is shared with the community. So by engaging with our community and finding those partnerships, that's where we have been able to make some headway. I think that also promotes, transparency. It also fuels innovation. So our partnerships with our communities are strong, and we want to continue to seek out those partnerships and continue to grow those. Safety and civility. This is something that is so foundational. It's one of those things that we want to create environments in our district that are conducive to learning. And you can't create the environments that are conducive to learning without having safe, secure facilities, people that are trained, and then those things become, you become free to be able to focus on what matters. So the main thing stays the main thing, and the main thing is teaching and learning. And so this is something that we will address too when we talk a little bit about the budget and we talk a bit about how to handle our budget here moving forward in the future. So now we're getting into the actual educational goals in the report. And so literacy and numeracy is an area. This is school right here. This is what we are really, if you really had to boil it down, this is what we're all about. Giving people the ability to work with language, reading, writing, discussion, communication, numeracy, being able to, handle that, numbers and having a sense for dealing with numerical values. These are the foundational skills I believe really are woven throughout every class in our school district in some shape or fashion. So this is something that we want to make sure that we are really strong. And this is an area that needs to be bolstered and continue to be bolstered. Strategic thinking is another one of our educational goals. I think you can boil this down to a simple lesson where teachers are talking to students or teaching students how to evaluate something in terms of what are the strengths and the weaknesses, to thinking about this in terms of a system and the comprehensive number of opportunities that kids have in our school district to think critically, to work with others, to problem solve, and really kind of cultivate all kinds of different skills. And in the end, they have the ability to find relationships among topics that sometimes they didn't think were related, but are related. Future readiness, I think that this is a very strong area for our district currently and continues to get better. What I do want to really emphasize here is this is an EK-12 system. We find this future readiness stuff a lot of times at the end of the high school experience, and that's where that community connection is made. But the process starts when they're 4 years old. It starts when they're young, and they learn all of the skills that need to be learned and take advantage of all the opportunities in the district. Last priority is citizenship, and really, if I had to boil this down to a simple idea, it's how do we create opportunities for our kids to work together for other people, and how do they serve others in some way, shape, or form. We have a number of opportunities for our kids and our staff to work together and teach kids citizenship. So those are our educational goals. And so the priorities within our district are really laid out in policy 1015. So now I want to talk a little bit about our schools, our staff, our students. So this is where the work happens. This is where the good things that happen in our district take place. So first, our students. How many are we serving? So we were just kind of having this informal conversation up here, but over the course of the last 12 years, you can see, and these are fall enrollment numbers. So this is essentially a head count, going through and finding how many kids are in school. So this last fall, when we did this work, we had 1,596 students. That's an important number to remember, because that will circle back into the budget when we get towards the end. But roughly, our system serves about 1,600 students. And so, and there are little peaks and valleys throughout, but that's who we're serving. This is a snapshot, and this is actually 2 different years of data. So the box or the tables up top that is data from this fall. So that is this year's data. Those numbers that are in the circles on the bottom are OPI reported numbers that are from last year's information. So you'll notice, like the obvious one, the socioeconomic status up there in the top, in the middle table, is 43.9%. And last year it was 50.2. It's safe to say that half of our students are in a disadvantaged situation in terms of economics. So that gives you kind of a breakdown of various components of demographics for our students. Some strengths there on the bottom: 92.5% graduation rate is really strong. 88.9% attendance rate, that's a daily attendance rate, is really good. And you also get the value of how much we spend per student in the district, which is a higher number than what you receive in terms of A and B. So important point there. So that's a little bit about our student population. Our teacher population. This is a big strength. So we have 115 teachers in our school district. The average number of years experience for our staff is 8 years. Collectively, we have 950 years of experience. So what this slide really shows is experience matters, but so does education. And so I want to point out that, and I know you probably can't see the numbers on the screen, but the third large bar in the bar graph on the bottom is those teachers that have a master's degree. Actually, if you're counting from left to right, it's the 5th bar over. That's right, okay. 5th bar over. Everybody beyond that has a master's degree or higher. So that's 57% of our staff has a master's degree or higher. And so I think that's an important feature, because not only it shows the value of experience, but also when you know better, you do better. And so our staff is very well educated. This next section is more about our students, and really this goes into the priority of literacy and numeracy. So you're going to see in these next few slides, you're going to see some data. And the data is a snapshot in time. There could have been other choices that we could have shared with you, but these are state assessments that you can see. The theme that you'll see throughout each one of our schools is that we are very competitive and very comparable to the state averages. And in most cases, we are scoring a little bit higher than the state averages. So starting with the end in mind, so thinking about our students that are in high school. So all of our juniors take the ACT. So here are ACT averages over the course of the last several years. Obviously this year we don't know that number yet. The the national average is 19.4, 19.5. So we are outscoring the national average, which the other factor with these numbers is all of our juniors take this test. It is a required assessment. So in many states, they may only test the top 10% of their students. And so regardless, we're still outscoring, in the national average. I think that's a very nice positive for us. So here is the same results presented in a little bit different manner, broken down by English language arts, math, and science. I'm sure will take the opportunity to look at this, but ultimately the state is on the bottom and the district is in the middle. And so you can see how we compare to the state and what the district scores are. So this is the high school scores. Similar pattern, you've got the Polytech scores. This is a little tricky, and this is, I question whether or not I should even include this. We've done, to Ryan's and Marlon's credit, they've moved a lot of kids around to try to separate dual credit from students that are in the Polytech and really just try to clean this up. Well, it has made the numbers a little bit funky that way in terms of reporting. But nonetheless, these are our results from a small subset of our high school population in English, math, and science. And then here are our middle school scores in ELA and math, again, comparable to the state. And then here are our elementary English language arts and math scores at Davie. So again, the theme in all of those is highly competitive with state averages, and in many cases above those state averages. So that is the literacy and numeracy component. So taking measurement of how we're doing with literacy and numeracy is what you just looked at. Another one of our educational goals is strategic thinking. I am proud of what we offer for graduation requirements. It offers options, obviously, for kids to challenge themselves if they choose to do that. So we have really tried to create options for kids and flexibility for kids. But in the end, I believe we've offered a very comprehensive experience for our kids. And I think the collective experience in all of these different classes helps really serve us in terms of strategic thinking. Future ready. I had mentioned earlier, this is a real strength for our district. And I think you're going to be pretty impressed with the opportunities that we have for really future ready programs. So this first slide, dual credit and AP courses. I do want to point out that the preparation starts in our early literacy program, and then they have these opportunities when they get in high school. So those students that want to earn college credit while still enrolled in high school, this is the list of options. So I believe it's 36 credits that are available to our students. If they want to walk out of high school and take all of those, they have 36 college credits, either in the form of a dual credit if they're going into a Montana University system, or potentially taking an AP exam to earn credits to go out of state. And so this gives kids a running start if that is their path. And this is one of the options for our kids in the district. This is a pretty impressive list. I would put this list up against essentially any high school in Montana and think that this is probably better than what most can offer. That includes all the classes. Certification opportunities, I know that print is a little bit small, but within our high school and within the Polytech, we have, for those kids that are interested in earning some sort of an industry credential or certification or specialized training, we have the list on the top are currently available to kids that want to do those. We are developing and creating new opportunities, and honestly, they're based on the interests of kids. As kids are expressing ideas, on what they want to do, we are trying to make those things happen. And doing this for our high school kids, whether they're in Polytech or in the high school. So whether it's college bound and wanting to go to college to wanting to jump into the workforce, we are trying to give our students the opportunity to successfully transition into those things if they so choose. The Polytech is truly a personalized learning environment for us. It's very flexible scheduling, very flexible days, but in the end, it is really trying to identify those students or match those students into post-secondary opportunities. Again, certifications, college credits, internships, work-based learning, and really trying to find out what's engaging for those students and so that they have options. So again, I think the future ready concept in this district is it's a very robust offering for us. I'm very proud of that. That's pretty remarkable. Citizenship is also one of our educational goals. We have so many opportunities for our students to engage with each other. And these are just a small set of examples from our house programs to clubs and activities in the middle school and high school, to specific classes, to leadership classes, to mentoring programs, and then doing, the every other year Veterans Assembly. There's just so many opportunities to have kids with a common experience and common interest that then they can go out and do things together that serve each other and serve the community and serve our schools. So some cool opportunities available for our kids. Now we get into money. So I have to talk about money. I wish we didn't have to talk about money. So this is a 3-year snapshot. It really starts with the information from this year and builds into the next year. School budgets, I think Kathy would tell you, are really complex. They're not an easy thing to understand. There's a lot of moving parts. And so putting together all the pieces of a budget is tricky. And so it takes some planning, it takes some foresight, and it takes multiple people looking at the same information to look at it with different perspectives. But I am going to try to give you a budget overview of the next few years and talk a little bit about what this means for us. So first of all, this is a list of the various funds. It's not all of the funds that we manage, but it's most of them. I have starred the general fund because it is our biggest fund and often is really what we are talking about when we're talking about instruction and providing for our students. That is a key fund, and so managing that is pretty critical. And so one of the most important things for people to realize in our communities is that where do we spend the general fund? The general fund is spent, the big bar on the left is instruction. So most of our money goes to instruction. That's where it should go. And so then you have different operational things and different activities and different support opportunities for kids that make up a smaller percentage, important percentage, but it is, our priority is, the main thing is the main thing, instruction, teaching and learning, the main thing is the main thing, and that is where money is spent, and that is from this year's structure. And so the next couple slides are really about what the future entails, but I think it's important for people to see where that general fund is spent. This is a projection. The fiscal year 27 is fairly close, although I haven't adjusted based on the new A and B numbers that you received tonight. But that is a pretty close estimate for what our budget will be like in the general fund next year. Notice it is higher than last year, So it does go up a bit. So there's inflationary adjustments, 3% inflationary adjustment, and you also have a little higher A and B calculated there in fiscal year 27. So everything after fiscal year 27 is a estimate or a projection. So it is based on this year's number to drive the next two numbers. And there are some important things to think about. So on the right-hand side of the screen is an overlay of our budget, which is the bar graph in the blue bars. And you can see over the course of several years, a gradual increase. And then you'll notice if you look at fiscal year 29, which is the last bar on the graph, I've circled the top of that. I want you to notice that the rate of increase is starting to slow down pretty significantly. So it's starting to flatten out. And I also want to draw your attention to the A and B that is projected. Now, how am I projecting the A and B in fiscal year 29? That is based on the number of students that are going to graduate in the next couple of years, and then estimating that our kindergarten numbers are going to be the same. That may not actually be true, but that's a projection. And so when you think about that number that I pointed out earlier is 1596, and then our last head count, if you just go through and look at all of the building reports, there's something like 1611 in terms of the number of students. At some point, OPI is indicating to us that they are going to correct the A and B count to reflect actual A and B count. That is what is a little bit worrisome about fiscal year 29. So just walking you through that. So the fiscal year 28, let's start there first. So that represents a 3% inflationary adjustment. So 3% increase to the general fund number. And then there is a decline of 29 students. So 29 students essentially equates to right about $200,000. So it's a $200,000 reduction in the budget. So I'm trying to normalize and make an adjustment to A and B, preparing for when OPI makes their correction. So what is not included in that number, which would be helpful, is the STARS Act, House Bill 252, gives us future-ready payments for students that are receiving college credit in high school. And you saw the pretty comprehensive list, and then the certification opportunities. So we're estimating anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 in terms of what our payment may be. That could be really helpful in that budget year, but we just don't know all of the facts yet. We're waiting for an updated list from the Department of Labor to see what that looks like. And then the last number, the 1615 fiscal year 29, again, a 3% increase for inflation, and then a 15 student decline in A and B. Essentially, that's about $100,000. So that's the reason why those numbers are starting to flatten out. And then if the A and B number is coming down, it will slow the rate of growth of our general fund. So what do we do about that? That's the question that we have been wrestling with, and it is the reason behind coming back to you, the board, and asking about how do we stabilize our system in the future and getting ready and being proactive with safety and technology. And so those two things, because we will have to make some decisions, it's not necessarily something that's going to be a drastic disruption, but as things happen for us over the next couple of years, we're going to have to decide, is this something that we keep or not? And just make some adjustments that way. But the safety levy is to make sure that we keep the focus on the focus. We keep the main thing, and that is teaching and learning. And we allocate our general fund for teaching and learning like we have been. And we make sure that the safety features that we have existing in our schools stays there. And so to do that, we're asking the community to support a safety levy. So primary things that are gonna happen with the safety levy, making sure that we have 2 school resource officers, making sure we have mental health support within our schools, making sure that we have the safety features that are ingress and egress in our schools that are operational, and that we can evaluate our sites for any ongoing safety needs that need to be addressed. And so right now, our school resource officers and some of our mental health are funded through federal grants. And if you've watched any news whatsoever, there may not be federal funding for a lot of things in the future. So this is an effort for Hamilton to take care of Hamilton and to make sure that we have those resources in place and stabilized, and not guess or rely on somebody else to make sure that that happens for us. So those funding sources will likely go away. I know the COPS grant will go away. So that is an effort to address that issue. The other thing that's happening, and you saw our operational costs was the second highest on the graph. So technology is a huge part of that, and does consume a chunk of the general fund. And so when we're seeing a 72% increase for the same things that we currently have, that's a drastic increase and it drains our budget. So the operational technology levy is really to stabilize the functions of our school. It is not for a fancy new screen, and that's not the purpose behind the ask. The purpose behind the ask is to make sure that we can function and our Wi-Fi works, our phones work, our subscriptions work. We have the technology subscriptions in place that support our teachers in terms of the resources that they need in the classroom. So this is I don't want this to sound like it's a downer. It's a little bit, it's something that you can't ignore, but it can be addressed. And I think we're making efforts to address that. So that is the financial picture for us moving forward. So keeping the money in mind and keeping the goals and values in mind, what's next, we have begun a process with the administrators, which will be replicated in the schools as well, to identify our areas of strength and weakness through the Cognia accreditation process. So just today, we were talking about assessment results and what is valuable there, and what do we have in place and what do we need, and having a robust conversation. That process will help to shape strategic planning that will align with the policy 1015. So I know that's a lot. That was a lot of talking right there, but so I apologize if I made you sleepy. What questions can I answer?
Questions out there? I have one for you.
Okay.
Go back to your financial one, if you don't mind. So if the state does fix their numbers, are they going to fix it just going forward? Any idea? Or are they going to go back and fix the numbers? Because that matters in terms of our 3-year average for the decreasing enrollment, then you can go for 3-year averaging.
Yeah.
But if they fix the averages from before, then that's going to be sizable.
That's the first time I've heard anybody describe it that way, where they would claw back the old averages, and that would be this would be a much different conversation if that were the case. But the 3-year average smooths this out a little bit, but if they adjust the previous years, that will be hard. But I've not heard anybody say that at OPI.
So nobody heard that.
Do not give them any idea.
I'm just saying, because governments like to do that.
Yeah, I would point out, Kathy and I were talking about this today. You see the really steep peak. That's the first year of our charter. we have not had 2,000 plus students in our district before, but that's what they calculated as our A and B. These are the things that they're going to adjust, which is why the targets at the end in fiscal year 29, it's where we have to adjust to or get ready for. Other questions? If questions come up after the facts, a couple weeks down the road, please ask.
Just one more, sorry, and this is gonna be to the high school. Obviously, we have a huge portfolio in terms of dual enrollment in AP. Are we increasing that in any sort? Are you guys looking to increase that through Polytech or through just the high school in its general to continue it? Especially since we know that looking at the, the additional bonus potentially that we get by having those additional credits, increasing the dual credits and APs to therefore potentially get more out of that STARS Act, 252.
So the dual credit courses are really driven by what degrees our teachers have, they have to have the master's degrees in 9 credits above in there. So when we're replacing staff, that's one of the things that allow us to offer so many, is we have those high quality teachers with that education that can provide those classes. So I was actually just writing my notes on what I want to ask for Mrs. Antonelli's leaving. Number 1, master's degree, number 2, CTE, because when she leaves, that's going to replace, we'll be able to offer dual enrollment and AP depending on what we get for that teacher. So yeah, replacing teachers is a big deal to maintain that list and to grow it.
Ryan, do you want to talk about the Polytech and?
Well, as far as the Polytech goes, I mean, we're really actively working to add, well, actually, we're first kind of approaching it through the high school because we have the pathway there with the Department of Labor and Industry. They're back today for the second time. We're looking at pre-apprenticeship pathways being designed that once they're approved by the Department of Labor, they count as CT equivalency credits. So the dual enrollment's one piece of the future ready payment and CT equivalency credits are the other. And based kind of on our meeting today and the feedback they gave us, we've got one for construction technology that's very close to being finalized probably as soon as tomorrow, which will serve as a kind of a roadmap to create one for welding, create one for culinary, create one for business, and potentially one for CAD/CAM, depending on what we can offer in CAD/CAM as we get a new instructor teaching that class. So all of those, the way that they're counting the CT equivalency credits is yet to be defined, and we kind of have a promise that it will change. They don't know. This is kind of tricky, the Department of Labor being in charge of defining what CT equivalency credits are for OPI then to count. And so there's a meeting that is on the 17th with OPI, with Shannon Boswell, talking about future ready payments and how it will be coded in IC. That has been yet to be determined. So all these dual enrollment classes, all these CT equivalency credits, by the end of the year, if we have these kids in programs that lead to credit or certification, we need to have a system in place to mark it so that that payment can kick in 2028. But again, that has the way that we're going to record that and report that is yet to be defined. And the DLI is saying, like, almost without doubt, what we put in place with them now, they recommend get in the ground floor, like, let's get this done. But you're probably going to be making some adjustments to these pre-apprenticeship pathways, and how many CT equivalency credits they count for will likely change too. Right now, some schools like Belgrade, Capitol High, and Helena have similar pathways, pre-apprenticeship pathways in place, and they're giving them 12 CT equivalency credits. I would guess that's what we'll get for the ones that we get in place this year. That's the number. It's interesting because the hours that each of those schools has in their pre-apprenticeship pathway varies by hundreds, and there's still 12 credits each at this point. So there's a lot to be figured out there, but that is something that we'd like to then see how we can take classes and provide those opportunities at the Polytech. Something that won't count for future ready payments, but is dual enrollment opportunity, or is a 5th year graduate potentially, we've got a employability certificate and program that we're partnering with University of Montana Bitterroot on. Earlier this week, I think, was that yesterday or last week? I can't remember, but we got the green light to proceed with graduates being enrolled and collecting A and B for them as we're funding this opportunity and program and collaboration with the University of Montana Bitterroot. If they earn an employability certificate in that program, that will not count towards future ready payments because they've already graduated. But it will give us full A and B. And so those 10 kids will bring in, and we're hoping to pilot a cohort of 10. We'll see. We have a lot to figure out this spring. But if we can get a pilot of 10 for the fall, that would be 10 additional A and B. And it's pretty scalable depending on the resources the university and our district wants to put into that. But it is brand new A and B.
Yeah, so, question about the DOL and, Department of Labor and all that kind of stuff. So when they put this in, do you know if they were looking to limit the thing? So for what I mean by that, I say DOL is like, we're only going to be counting CTE for welding and for health professionals, or they just left it open? And then is there ability to appeal what the DOL comes out with? That's the other one. Saying like, ours, they're getting 1 hour, we're giving 100 hours, we want, 16 CTE for this.
Yeah.
Because we have a student that's gone all day long while you're getting, the same level.
Yeah. So the information I have is they're very open to, if it's a pathway at least towards a trade or employability, like they talked to me today about, they heard through the grapevine that we were exploring pre-apprenticeship with teaching, and they're very eager to participate in that discussion and help us define what that would look like. So if we have a track, they want to help us get a Department of Labor approved pre-apprenticeship pathway that ends with the certificate awarded by them. And then the appeal process, that seems to me that they're going to have to take the hours. Eventually, they're going to come to the conclusion, I would suggest, that they're going to have to take the hours and have a metric that offers credits, equivalency credits, because right now the disparity is too large.
Are we working with the federal government or the state?
It's part of the state, Cinema.
This is all state.
Yeah.
Because
This is money's coming from the state?
Yes, yeah, because it's coming from Future Ready Stars Act. Yeah.
Awesome. Other questions? Awesome. Perfect. Thanks, everyone. All right, keep rolling along. Sounds good. Consent agenda. So in your board packet, you'll see personnel report minutes, and as well as the red minutes, red pink sheets, which has those minutes as well. And our district students and all that kind of stuff. Any comments, questions on
That's pretty straightforward, so no.
Okay, all right, nothing. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So,
Can I get a second?
second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, some items of old business. First one is the permit process for the Padel Court.
We have not heard back, so we're still in a holding pattern on that. It is in the hands of the contractor that is working on that, and once that is ready to go, we'll be meeting with the city.
Excellent, all right. Any questions on that one? All right, next one, MHSA, annual meeting proposals. Who wants to do? You wanna go?
It was, the first one, it's in the board packet, but number one, there was no vote, and then the rest of them were all unanimous yeses from all the schools, so.
Sounds good. Any comments, questions about the thing? If not, all right, we don't have to do anything with that, just keep on rolling on. Last one is the ice rink.
Yeah, so, I know we had talked about being done talking about the ice rink. But I was approached, within the last week to, meet with the Hamilton Downtown Association about, an agreement for next winter. And so it has circled back around. I will schedule something in later February or early March. And see what that is all about. Any comment or suggestion about that meeting?
Do you know if they're going, do you know if they're gonna do a park meeting for the big corral?
I do not know.
Maybe we should just. So, anyways.
Yeah.
So, any questions? All right, first item of new business is just a review of the county, which you've kind of gone through.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about it?
Nothing new to add. You have the data, the fall and the spring student counts in front of you, so you see the comparison between the two. So that will shape our budget for next year.
Excellent. Any comments, questions? Nope. All right, keep on moving on. So the next one is, kind of a normal thing for us when we have new ones. So this is approval for the Montana Data Privacy Agreement with Overdrive Incorporated. Can I get a motion to approve this, Montana Data Privacy Agreement? So moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All right.
Just to clarify, that's just a second, church voted on, that's I guess they're audible books, right? So they're essentially, it's a library that you subscribe to where the students who have a 504, an IEP, or even general ed students could log into this resource and get books read to them. So that's essentially what we're looking to license through.
That's perfect. I know the library does Overdrive as well, so.
Yes.
So, cool. Nothing else? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next one is request approval for our high school in Stevensville to have our teams travel together for Old Quest for March 2nd and 3rd. Pretty good, just split some costs. So, any questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next one is approval for a MOU between MAPS Media Institute and us to govern the collection, use, protection, and reporting of school students' personal PII to the Montana Office of Public Instruction 21st CCLC program.
This is something that we've done for years, and it basically boils down to the fact that MAPS needs to report through OPI regarding their student participation in the program, and they need us to support sharing data on the students that are in the program.
Sounds good. Any questions? All right, now can I get a motion to approve this MOU?
So.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, next one, so recommendation to approve the advertising MOUs for advertising in the high school gym with Farmers, Estate Bank, Liberty Health, and the IR Coach Gym for the 3-year period of 7/1/25 to 6/30/2028.
So I just want to clarify, because I made a mistake in my draft, my summaries to you. This is for the gym. This is not football. And I didn't catch that mistake on my second read through, so.
They're the same ones we have now. It's just re-upping the contract with them.
Sounds good. Any questions about it? Okay.
Not about that, but as long as we're on the subject, how are we doing with my pet project with football?
Working on
So we still have one open?
it. Mhm. I've had a few conversations with businesses, and then I'm hoping by next year we'll get one for the,
Because it's been, what, 2 years?
yeah. Our advertisers, have done a great job, support us a lot. I mean, compared to what most districts charge for advertising, we do a good job with bringing in money from them. And so it is a pretty steep price for a lot of businesses. So we're trying to find the right one.
Do we need to take a look at the contracts
We're in year 2 of 5 right now,
of most of
of all of them,
them?
except for the one that's open. Yeah. So overall, I feel like we're doing a really good job of keeping that fund rolling.
Do you have a clue, Kathy, what the fund is?
One,
Are we even at 200 yet?
I believe so, because we paid off the scoreboard, but I really want to venture, yes. But I can get you that information.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All good. All right, we get a motion to approve the advertising memorandum for the gym.
So
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Next one is recommendation to, same thing, but this is in the middle school gym for Luke Quick and Carol Orthodontics. So, can I get a motion to approve those? Someone, can I get a second? Second. Any other comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Next one is request for approval of business individual for advertising on the softball field scoreboard and the agreement.
Yep, so this is the template agreement, so this is to approve that structure of the agreement, and then we will go out and try to sell those spaces.
Sounds good. So similar to all one of the ones. All right, cool. We get a motion to approve this agreement.
So,
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, next one is, we've been moving a lot around, so approval for the environmental club's financial aid. We administer and maintain through the high school extracurricular activity fund. So we've been doing this. I think we have Spurs, we did a bunch of other ones too, so.
It's the same idea, yeah, just putting it under the umbrella of the high school activities, student funds. And it is student fundraised activities and managed by the high school extracurricular.
Sounds good. Any comments? Not, can I get a motion to approve this environmental club financial activity switch? So, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Excellent. Next one is just approval for out-of-state travel with the Great Falls School District choir students. And two of our students to go to the All Northwest in Tacoma, Washington. So we've done this before. So any comments? All right, can I get a motion to approve this out-of-state travel? Can I get a second?
Second.
Any comments? Not? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, and then this is just information for our school election.
Yeah, so you have, not only the election information and dates, which is just for your information, but in addition to that, there is some potential ballot language. And we need to determine what kind of language we want to use on the ballot. So there are a couple of different options with the tech levy. It's pretty straightforward. There really isn't any options. But in the safety levy, there is just using the basics, which essentially explains the code. It doesn't give any detail. And then you have the expanded version, which gives the code in detail and lists out the acceptable uses of, for successful levy, what can be spent or purchased with that, including school resource officers, counselors, mental health, safety and security, egress, ingress, all the things that we are asking to support. So I think it would make sense to have those things available for people to see. Thoughts?
I'm in favor of draft two. I think it's, nobody is probably going to go read the MCA's, is my guess. And draft two has a lot of things in there that I think people will look at and say, yeah, I understand what you're trying to do. And it's talking about bullet resistant windows and so forth in there and all of those kind of things. I think it adds to transparency rather than hiding behind an MCA. I think it says all the things all we're trying to do with this safety law. So that's my opinion on that. I don't know, I'll let you guys read and think which one you want.
We're big on transparency.
This one seems pretty, I think it says a lot. I mean, I know it's a big paragraph, but if somebody's gonna put money where they're gonna want to read that. So, and searching for an MCA, not that difficult, but people probably won't want to do it.
I would agree. I'm in favor of draft two. I mean, the reality is that some folks don't know about it until they open their ballot.
Right.
And this is an opportunity for them to educate themselves.
Yeah, so that's where I'm
I'm in favor of more information.
all good. All right.
Yeah.
So in that case, we only have one draft for tech because it has everything in it anyways. So can I get a motion to adopt draft number 2?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, distribution of levy.
Yeah, and this is more of an informational thing than an action thing, but I gave you a copy of a letter that I plan to distribute to, first will go out to school staff, so that you can see what that communication looks like. On the back of that is really what what those levies are designed to provide for the district. And to give people an idea of what that looks like, I think this is the first layer of communication to staff. And so I am planning to meet face-to-face with each of the schools on Friday during our PD day and explain the request and then follow up with a copy of the letter so that they have that for them. So other things to consider, I really am trying to make connections with the Kalispell superintendent. They've had some success with levies in the last few years, and so would like to get some insight from them on what was helpful. But they also are, it's been a good news cycle for them, so I think there's some stuff going on. They're just busy, so once I hear back, then I'll have more information about that.
Sounds good. Any questions?
No, just a comment, David, we appreciate the whole annual report piece, but I think you articulated it very well when you said Hamilton, taking care of Hamilton. And that's what this letter describes. And maybe suggest that as a good lead.
Theme?
Yeah. And then another editorial comment, just, you also, in speaking, I think you highlighted this is about teaching and learning and instruction. And I just, I see one in here with 88% of our budget dedicated to personnel. Well, it's really instruction, teaching and learning.
Absolutely.
I think the better we can articulate that, the better
Okay.
chance we have here.
Good.
But yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I'd just like to add that the candidate filing closed yesterday, and we had 3 candidates that qualified to be on the ballot, who were Weston Harmon, Eli Johnson, and I apologize to Marissa Newhausen. Ninehouse. And then with the way they changed the dates, usually we're closing and certifying the ballot, so my plan is to do a draft ballot so you guys can see it and then approve it at the next meeting.
Sounds good. Perfect. Cool. Any other discussion on those? All right, charter schools, you want to give an update? I know you didn't do a report, anything you want to say?
No, nothing other than what was in the report, if there's any questions. I think I hit it with the questions.
Perfect. And then we have to do this approval for an MOU with the CDL Montana, and Bitterroot University of Montana and HSD3 for the CDL education and training. So this is just, you want to go forward?
Yeah, and we got 2 kids through CDL last year. We're hoping to get 2 more this spring. This just allows us to do that and outlines our responsibilities on both sides of the partnership.
Good program again, so nice.
I don't think any other school's done it.
Because you have to be 18, right?
Yeah, it's tricky.
That's the tricky part.
Yeah, and it's, the new agreement requires us to have 2 kids at a time, so there's like a partner. And currently we only have 1, so we'll see if I can drum up the other, because you cannot get your learner's permit if you're not 18 years old. So it really excludes a lot of kids from the opportunity because some of them just don't turn 18 until even if they turn 18 in a month, it's kind of pushing it for being too late.
Is this one of those ones where we could think about that 5th year?
Yes, yeah.
Because, obviously, as those kids turn 18, then moving them into this.
Yeah, this would be a huge win for kids in a 5th year that wanted the employability certificate, and it's another cert that they could pursue, absolutely. And logically, it falls there nicely, right? In terms of when the training's most appropriate.
Yeah.
And I know one kid who wants to do that, but he doesn't turn 18 until March 19th.
Yeah, well, we can look at it. We do need a partner, and this is one where to me, if it goes into the summer, it did last year a little bit, and the 2 kids walked away with their license. So we're okay with opportunities like this extending into the summer. It's not a graduation requirement. None of these kids that engage in this are doing this to meet a specific grad requirement. So it's something that we can have flexibility on the end date, because it's not an easy, program to just, and it's a serious program. You need to be ready, and you have to go up and be able to pass the test on your own. So, yeah.
Sounds good. Perfect. Can I get a motion to approve this MOU with CDL Montana and Bitterroot College? Any, can I get a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, that's all we got.
Just for, sorry,
Go ahead.
for transparency, we did get a comment earlier requesting that the camera cover the presentation instead of the board members.
Oh.
And we weren't able to switch that up on the fly, so I just commented back that we weren't able to do that, but just so you know, it's some feedback for the future.
Keep it simple.
We could put the presentation on the website.
Yeah, post it, for sure. I think we'll do that.
So, perfect. All right, sounds good. Any other things? All right, if not, thanks everyone. Take sheets up here.